Adam Johnson of Fairness and Accuracy in Reporting went through the first presidential debate with a fine-tooth comb, and the specifics of what wasn't discussed is colossally depressing. So here's some of the things left out. Poverty, abortion, climate change, immigration, healthcare, student debt, privacy, so NSA-related issues, and LGBTQ rights and drug policy. Yeah. So that's a lot of stuff there. Now, look, I get it. You only have a limited amount of time, and you got to narrow it down to certain topics, and you got 2 more debates left, and yada, 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 yada. But, you know, when you think about it, the way that we do these debates in the first place is this totally outdated model. Like, the whole idea of a debate is a little bit silly. Because, I mean, if you're actual human beings who are open-minded and care about getting to answers and care about truth, I mean, for one thing, it would be more of a discussion, because you'd be bouncing ideas off each other and thinking, okay, where do you, oh, you have a point there. I never thought of it like that. Okay, now you have a point there. I never thought of it like that. But we set it up, you know, like it's a fucking boxing match or something, and it's this person versus this person, and who's going to knock them out, and who's going to have the more pithy, witty one-liner. So the whole idea of a debate, it's almost biased in the direction of people who are more witty and can do one-liners, and the ideas don't even necessarily have to be good. You know what I mean? Like, if somebody's a good talker, if they're a good communicator, that person can win the debate 10 out of 10 times against somebody who has better ideas, but they can't transfer their thoughts to you in a way that's smooth enough and keeps your interest enough. So the whole idea of a debate in the first place is a little bit outdated. I think it would be better, in all seriousness, if, you know, we had almost like a podcast discussion. Like, you do 3-hour, 4-hour discussion with somebody, and you got to have somebody there to bounce ideas off them who really knows the policy substance and who, you know, is well-versed in what's going on in the world, and then you could just talk. You just talk and see where the person falls, and you get a much better idea of who that person is, because it's hard to fake your politician persona for 4 hours. And especially when you got to dig into the detail and there's somebody there and you're just having a conversation, you know, it's hard for them to keep up that facade. But also, you know, there should be more of a focus, and the media should do this. It should be mostly on the policy substance, and you should be able to have a list. Hey, here's exactly what Donald Trump promises to do. Here's exactly what Hillary Clinton promises to do. But instead, it's set up more like a prize fight, and it's set up more like this person versus that person, and okay, now let's talk about these vague topics, and don't worry about all the specifics, yeah. No, that's a little bit silly. And then again, when you dig into what was left out, that's when you really begin to open your eyes and go, oh, it's almost like they don't care at all about actually making people's lives better. I mean, if the media was doing its job, you hold power accountable, and you basically do your best to represent your viewers, represent the people, and try to get these politicians on the record as to what they're going to do and what they want to do, and how can they improve your lives in a tangible way, a measurable way. But when you leave out issues like poverty, but by the way, strike one, you're out. That's it. There's no 2 and 3. Poverty. You don't discuss poverty. Seems like a pretty big issue. There was a report a few years back that I think it was 76% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. And you're going to leave poverty out of the discussion. That's insanity. Remember the Oxfam report? 62 people in the world. So this isn't just the U.S., this is the world over. 62 people have more wealth than the bottom 50% of the population. That is unreal. So 62 people, more than 3.5 billion people combined. You think maybe poverty is an issue? You think maybe we should discuss that? Healthcare. You know, 45,000 people die every year in the U.S. because they don't have access to basic healthcare. Yes, Obamacare took a big step in the right direction, but we don't have single payer. We don't have Medicare for all. I mean, medical bills is still the #1 cause of bankruptcy. You think maybe healthcare is something you should bring up? But no. And meanwhile, they brought up, you know, Putin was brought up like over a dozen times. All these fucking issues that, don't get me wrong, there is a conversation to be had there. But when prioritizing, it should be much lower on the list than poverty and Healthcare, climate change, actually, to be fair, was brought up once. I think Hillary Clinton brought it up once to say to Donald Trump, you think it's a Chinese hoax, you idiot. But outside of that, there was no detailed discussion of climate change. And climate change, talk to a millennial. Actually, fuck a millennial, talk to a scientist. And they'll tell you, oh, yeah, no, that should be like the number one thing you're talking about. Bernie Sanders said we have to treat it like a World War II level threat. Stop and think about that. The fucking Nazis. The Nazis. That's World War II we're talking about. He's like, yeah, we got to treat it like that level of a threat. Why? Because anybody who actually reads the details of it and knows the ins and outs goes, oh, shit, we're playing with the lives of the future generations here. And not even that, our own generation at this point, because we're seeing the tangible effects right now. So these things are left out, man. Drug policy. I mean, seriously, we've wasted over $1 trillion on the drug war. People are more likely to use drugs today than they were before the drug war started. We have mass incarceration, which has ruined the lives of so many people. This is why they call it the new Jim Crow. We went from slavery to segregation, Jim Crow, and now you have mass incarceration. Of course, the drug war disproportionately targets people of color. So these are all issues that are so important. The NSA spying on everybody, so important. Left out. Left out. So now, again, well, you might say, Kyle, this is an anomaly, and usually they do a good job. Well, listen to this fact. Quote, in 9 Democratic Party debates, there were no questions about poverty. Democratic Party debates. So this is in the primary. No questions about poverty. If that's the case for the Democrats, I mean, what hope is there for the Republicans? On the Democratic side, they're like, yeah, poverty doesn't exist. Anyway, moving on. And again, this is the moderators. I'm sure, Bernie Sanders brought up poverty 800 times because he actually cares about the issue. So you ask him a question about something else, he'll give you an answer on that and then also discuss poverty because he's a policy wonk through and through. But the moderators are just piss poor, man. They're piss poor. And it shows you Burgundy will read anything off the prompter. I mean, that's where we're at right now when it comes to journalism and reporting in America, is that you put somebody in front of the camera, you put a script up there, and they read it, and that's that. And there's nothing going on in their head. Wolf Blitzer has never said anything interesting in his life. I mean, the only person in the running for being as boring and as vapid as Wolf Blitzer is Jeb Bush. That's it. But these are the people who, and this is who's featured by CNN, because they know he's not going to rock the boat. They know he's not going to talk about the important issues. They know he's not going to snub the corporatocracy, the oligarchy that we're living in. So we got to get serious, man, and we're not serious. Now, thankfully, new media is rising, and new media, we're much more likely to ask tough questions and really care about the issues. But, there's a reason why Kyle Kulinski of SecularTalk is not hosting a debate. They don't want me to host a fucking debate. Because to me, it's not a question. We've been having a debate running up to the debate where people say, should they fact check? Should the moderators actually say what's true? And I swear to you, there are many people who are like, no, they shouldn't actually do their job. They should not do their job. And they should let Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton live in a post-truth era and just go back and forth. And that's that. Like, the fact that you're even discussing this shows how broken the system is. And this is just more evidence of it right here. You didn't discuss poverty, abortion, climate change, immigration, healthcare, student debt, privacy, LGBTQ rights, or drug policy. And by the way, I'm sure there are also many other things you didn't discuss that you should have discussed. To steal a phrase, sad.